Hello everyone. Welcome to the review of the economy, the July edition. Today we will talk about the highlights of the budget and we'll also dwell upon the macroeconomic outlook post the budget. The highlights of the budget first. Modi government has reaffirmed its commitment to fiscal discipline by budgeting fiscal deficit at 4.9% of GDP, which is much below what it had anticipated in the interim budget. Now, this has many positive effects for the economy. It will bring down the cost of servicing the debt for the government because lower borrowings will have a soothing effect on bond yields. It will also help RBI in the conduct of monetary policy, so we will have better monetary fiscal coordination. India is included in the global bond indices, so it is subject to more fiscal scrutiny, and the fiscal consolidation will come in handy there as well. And finally, in this risky global environment, it is always good to have fiscal buffers, and fiscal consolidation provides us that. The budgetary provisions also reflect the increased quest for equitable growth. Budget does maintain its support for infrastructure development via capex spending, but it also is increasing support to rural areas via revenue spending. Now, how does the budget manage to reduce the fiscal deficit, increase its spending on the revenue account, maintain its thrust on capex? This has been possible because of the better than expected tax collections and also because the additional dividend from the RBI provided it some elbow room to make fiscal correction, which was faster than what was anticipated earlier. So it has used this dividend for reducing the fiscal deficit. It has also used it for supporting the trailing segments of the economy. For instance, supporting hiring via EPFO contribution, skilling initiative, which is in collaboration with the states and the private sector, and also internship for youth. Now, finally, inflation was a big problem for the policymakers. Not the overall inflation so much, the food inflation. The core inflation is quite benign. Now, central bank is not able to cut rates if the headline inflation doesn't come down to 4% on a durable basis. So fiscal measures to control food inflation were essential, particularly the structural measures. Here, I think the weatherproofing of agriculture by developing climate-resistant crops, increasing the irrigation cover are very helpful. Improved transport and storage for agriculture will also reduce spoilage and improve the food supply in a way. And finally, food processing, which allows us to smoothen prices in the era of volatility. This is being done by the PLI scheme. The macroeconomic outlook post-budget doesn't change much. We continue to expect GDP to moderate to 6.8% in 24-25. This is very much in line with what the economic survey had pointed out a day before the budget was presented. We also expect GSEC yields to soften from the current levels to around 6.8% by March 2025. This is due to lower borrowings, rate cuts from the RBI, and also decline in inflation, which is expected to play out in the rest of the year. We do not expect RBI to cut rates or change its stance in its August policy. We believe that rate cuts will happen earliest by October. Thank you very much for tuning in. See you next month.